And anytime anybody says that, like as soon as I hear that, I'm like, oh my goodness, they feel it deeply. It must be going to happen.
I get the same, dude. I get the same thing. I'll hear somebody will share a Facebook video like, I just heard from the Lord, and I'm like, oh, he must have heard from the Lord.
Get ready, set, go.
This thing on.
I can never get enough of volume.
One thing I've noticed, Kanan, if I crank up the volume on this song, it makes me sound more energetic in my intro because I have to scream to get on top of it, and then I just lower the volume in post. So it seems like I'm, Happy Howie over here, homicidal Howie.
I like what you did there. Oh yeah.
Oh man, Kane, it's just me and you tonight, ain't it?
It is just me and you tonight.
I'll tell you what, I don't know if half the crew, if there's a union strike they're not telling us about, but I've not been able to get this whole crew together. And it's been a while.
It has been a while. Well, I think that like everything starts out very strong, and then as time goes on, it starts to weaken, and the
newness wears off. Is that what you're saying?
I think so. Yeah, the newness wears off, and then of course, it becomes a something you got to do every week. And it can get tiring even at times.
Yeah.
Like tonight, man, I'm still struggling with this whole time change thing.
Oh, this time change has completely messed me up.
Oh, I'm just like, dude. So I think that's the problem. We've been doing this for several months now.
We have, and we have not missed a week since we started.
No, we haven't.
We've not missed a week. And we recorded.
No, I mean, I've maybe missed a time here or there, but it's been steadily moving forward.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. So, well, the podcast in general has not skipped a week, and that's saying something, because I'm not known for being overly ambitious. So for me to be able to stick this thing through, I'm pretty proud of myself there.
Yeah, I mean, this has went on since May? I think May was the first time.
I think we recorded our first episode on the 30th of May.
Yeah. And we have just kept plugging along ever since.
We have. And I'll tell you what.
I like it.
I love it. I think I enjoy it. I enjoy it more now, definitely, than when we started, because the equipment's better.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't stress to you enough how much easier it is when you actually have decent equipment to do it. So I remember that first one, we was all sitting around the table, and we had that microphone. Actually, a guy gave me, and it wasn't a terrible microphone, but it picked up everything. So anytime somebody smacked the table, it sounded like they were driving something through your head. And yet people listened.
Yes, it's true. Man, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was a good time.
I think that, what was it, the first night we did that, we were all huddled around that mic. Yeah, that was quite fun too, Yeah,
we recorded the first two episodes like right there close together, because we recorded the first episode that night, and then went and recorded the second episode that same night and released it a week later.
Yeah, that was fun, because it was so easy then, because we had so much material, man.
Oh yeah,
we didn't even really have to think. We just started talking, and it started coming to us.
We just started ragging on the people and things, and confessing to some things,
mad and whatnot.
Yeah, confessing some things we probably shouldn't have confessed.
Probably so.
At least until the statute of limitations runs out.
That's actually what I was just thinking. I was like, yeah. Oh man, I love it, dude.
Before we get started, if you want to give us a 5-star rating for the podcast, wherever you listen, it actually does help out. It helps out quite a bit. You can go to anchor.fm/PhilSparks. If you'd like to send us a voice message, you can also donate to the show there. Or support sounds better. We don't sound so much like a preaching. I'll tell you what, you send me $25 and I will send you healing water in a bottle.
Yes,
That we've
I will
peeled.
pray for you.
Yes, that we've peeled the Dasani label off of, and said a Hail Mary over it. Actually, remind me about that. Don't let me lose that train of thought. You can send us a voice message at anchor.fm/Phil Sparks. You can send us an email, hillbillybroadcast@aol.com. You can find us on Facebook. I'm on Twitter at Phil Sparks Show. All right. That's not an ad read. I don't know what you call it. That's out of the way. Talking about guys selling stuff. Let me see if I can pull this up, actually. Are you familiar, Kanan, with Jim Bakker and Tammy Faye Bakker?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So Jim Bakker went to prison, right? I believe he did.
Oh, man. I think I've heard that. Seems like, yeah.
I don't know if I just watched something about them, or I remember there was some kind of controversy there. I know Tammy Faye's dead. Okay, so yeah, here he is, Jim Bakker. So he gets out of prison. You would think if you're a TV evangelist and you get out of prison, you're going to try to not look like a crook.
Yeah.
But Jim Bakker sat at home and thought about this and just decided to double down. and I knew I'd heard about this. So here, I just pulled up an article on NPR from March of 2020. Jim Bakker was selling a, quote, coronavirus cure.
No.
Yes.
No. Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Let me see if I can find. Let me see here what it says. So this was in March of 2020. He had a guest on his program. Actually, I'll just read a little bit of this. Televangelist Jim Bakker held up a blue and silver bottle, gazing intently at the label as he questioned the woman sitting next to him. Here's his quote. "This influenza that is now circling the globe," Bakker said on the February 12th broadcast of the Jim Bakker Show. "You're saying that silver solution would be effective?" Dude.
Oh,
What?
my goodness.
What? Do you ever notice all this stuff, all these ads for crap now on TV? They've always got like silver or copper. Like they'll sell you underwear
Yes.
with copper in them. I'm like, I don't, I mean, what's the long term?
Copper?
Yeah.
I got that down. I can do that.
I got you a precious metal right here.
Pretty solid.
His guest was a so-called natural health expert. Cheryl Selman was her name. Here's a quote that she had said on there. "Well, let's say it hasn't been tested on this strain of the coronavirus, but it has been tested on other strains of the coronavirus and has been able to eliminate it within 12 hours. I want to know why I didn't receive this treatment when I got COVID."
Yeah, for real. Well, and it was probably just an immune system builder, really. And then they're saying it's a cure.
I bet you it don't even do that. Like I said, they
No,
probably just
not.
peel the label off of the Dasani bottle and market it to
Oh
their,
my,
to their
dude,
followers.
that's crazy.
Oh, well. And I've seen some other TV evangelists too. What was that one guy's name? Rod something or other. It was like Rod Parsley or something like that.
Is he that real weird dude? Like, that was like he was like, they were asking him why he had a jet and stuff.
Oh, you're
He was
thinking of
like,
Kenneth Copeland.
Is that who that
Oh,
was?
he's weird too, yeah.
Dude, that guy's nuts, man.
Oh, he freaks me out. Flat out freaks
dude,
me out.
Yeah. He's a freak, man. He really is.
Yes, he is. And I remember this Rod Parsley guy, I believe this was Rod Parsley. And I don't even know if I'm getting his name right. But he was trying to hawk some kind of an offering. And he was going all the way. Of course, they like to go back to the New Testament or Old Testament to find a lot of weird things that they can twist. And
Yeah.
he was claiming that the Bible said that if you would bind up your offering in your right hand and present it to God. So he said, you bake up that check. He wasn't even kidding. So you bind up that check in your right hand and you send it to us. And God will see to it that you are richly, richly blessed. And I'm like, man, this is bull crap. It's a bunch of baloney.
It's worth trying, though.
So what we're saying is if you take up your monthly donation and you send it to the Hillbilly Broadcast,
you will be richly, richly blessed.
you'll receive absolutely nothing in return.
Dude, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, we wonder why a lot of
Man.
Christians get a bad name with shysters like that running around.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
He did get sued over that coronavirus thing, though, which I think he should have. I mean, I'm not exactly terrified of the COVID, but I think anybody going around like that, especially in the name of the church and trying to sell something that's full out baloney, they should get sued.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. That's ridiculous, man.
Kanan, there's one topic that's on everybody's lips at the moment. Care to guess what it is?
I don't know where your mind is at. You go ahead, my man. Tell me.
Neither do I, but I will say it's freaking Yellowstone, man. Yellowstone season 4.
I thought that's where you were going, but I was not 100% sure.
Have you seen the latest episode of it yet?
No, I haven't. I'm still on like season 1. Like, I'm not even sure. I'm not very far in at all.
Season 1, man. You are.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, I'm way behind. Now, I will say what I've seen so far, I really like it. That show, the acting is extremely good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was very well put together. I remember me and Mariah was watching this one episode where the kid is like down in like this tunnel or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's this rattlesnake coming through, and he starts, kicking at the rattlesnake and stuff. And I'm like sitting there, I'm like all tensed up, and I'm like, oh dear Lord, help this poor boy. I'm like, dude, it's a freaking show. It's like, it's not real life, Oh, dude.
I tell you what, Kevin Costner has always, I can't even say always. Let me think about, I'm trying to remember when he really caught my attention, because I wasn't a fan of him. I mean, I was just indifferent about him for a long time. Didn't really care. But I saw him. What was it I saw him in that really turned the tide for me?
I really like 3 Days to Kill. I really enjoyed that movie.
That was a really good one, but I think I started liking him before that ever came. It might have been when he played in that Hatfields and McCoys movie.
Actually, I think you're right. That might have been the one. It was one of those. I know I love 3 Days to Kill. Like, I watched that movie quite a few times. I really enjoyed that movie. But Hatfields and McCoys, though, that was amazing. That was great.
It was really good. He's really good at playing those, those historical, manly type roles.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
He also played in that. I tell you where I think the first time I ever saw him was in Wyatt Earp.
Ah, yes, I forgot about that. He did play in Wyatt Earp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did a phenomenal job.
That was good. I've really always liked him. I don't really think there's ever been a time that I didn't really like him. I've always, I thought there was some movies of his better than others, but as a whole, I've always liked stuff that he's played in. Yeah. Usually, if he's played in it, I'm like, okay, it's going to be a pretty decent movie, so I would buy it or watch it. But him in Yellowstone, though, he is amazing in that.
Well, I think he's got to the point in life that he pretty much plays the same type of character every time.
Yeah. Yeah.
To where they pretty much always talk like this, Yes. He's just this real gruff old dude. He does a phenomenal job at it. I tell you what, his baseball movies were good too, because after I became a fan of his, I started going back and watching some of the older ones. And there was one called, I think, For the Love of the Game. I believe that's what it was called. It was really good. And of course, there's Field of Dreams. Field of Dreams is probably one of the most popular baseball movies ever.
I may have to go back and look at those. I've never seen those.
Field of Dreams is good, and I won't spoil it for you if you need to go watch it. Yeah, it's good stuff.
I'd like to go watch that.
Oh, and I tell you another one. We went to the theater and saw it together. I do believe. What was that? Draft Day.
Oh yes.
That was
very good movie. Very good movie. Draft Day was very good. I actually, after we went to the theaters and watched that, I actually went out and bought that movie. So
I did too.
That one. Yeah,
I did too.
Yeah. That was a great movie. Yeah. Actually, it's football season. I need to break that movie back out.
Yeah, I've not seen it in a few years.
Yeah.
There's a few.
It's been a while for me.
There's a few of those movies that I have really good memories with, because me and you and our crew, whoever that consisted of, at whatever different times in history, we would go see these movies. We did that with Draft Day. We did it with Grown Ups. Was it Grown Ups 2?
Mm-hmm. I think it was Grown Ups 2.
Yeah.
We did the Expendables 2.
Oh, yeah.
We went and seen the Expendables 2. Oh, yeah. There's so many great movies that we've watched together over the years.
Yep. I just like a lot of those actors from way back then, from the 80s. And
I did too. Still do. It's kind of funny, though. The older that me and you get, and the more time we spend together, me, you, and Mariah and Missy, it usually consists of us just turning on The Office in the background and talking. We we never actually sit down and watch a full movie anymore.
It's been a long time since we've sat and actually watched a movie. Because normally, by the time me and you get together, we got so much stuff we need to gossip about that I'm like, I don't have 2 hours to sit here in silence.
Absolutely. Nor do you really want to. But yeah, dude, back to Yellowstone. Yellowstone is a phenomenal. I like all of the actors. Man, I'll tell you what, Beth though. Woo-wee. That woman is a mean woman.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
And of course, Rip. I would just like to be able to act like that old boy. Goodness gracious.
I tell you what, if I could just look like Rip, it would not make me. It wouldn't make me upset. Not one bit.
No, me neither, man.
Yeah, Rip's a fantastic character, and I've seen him in stuff before.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember a lot of what it was. I think I've seen him in maybe 2 other movies. I know he was in like Olympus Has Fallen or something like that, where like the White House was under attack, and he was okay, but he was nothing like he is in Yellowstone because he was clean cut, just kind of it's like, this guy, he's just a typical looking, kind of bland looking guy. Don't give a rip one way or the other. But then when he started playing in Yellowstone, it's like, woo, this guy has got some acting chops to him.
Have you been watching season 4 yet then?
I haven't, because here's where I'm at. I don't have traditional TV anymore. Okay. So, when I lived at the other house for a long time, I had, I think it was Dish Network or whatever it's called. Mm-hmm. And, it was like $60 a month, and that was for the lowest level package that they had. And it didn't have a DVR with that. So if you wanted to watch a show, you had to be there at such and such a time. And we all know that I could not remember anything long enough to be there at that certain time. So that being said, I don't have traditional TV anymore. I just use streaming services, which I think a lot of people are going to.
They are.
So I started looking into this because Yellowstone seasons 1 through 3 is on Peacock right now. So I just naturally assumed, I was like, okay, as new episodes come out, they're going to be on Peacock. Well, no, they're not. Basically, if you want to see Yellowstone as it's happening, you either got to buy the full season 4. And I know Missy's done this with a show before. So you'll pay for it in advance, and they give you each episode to download as it comes out on TV. I really don't get any interest in doing that. If you have a regular cable service or something, I think you can log in through that and watch it. Or you got to buy like one of these, like YouTube TV or Hulu TV, not just their actual streaming service, but like their, they're offering these TV packages now.
Yeah. Yeah, like, what is it? Hulu Live, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And I think you're looking at like $50 or $60 a month with that, I think.
Yeah, and it's like, well, I'm saving money by not having cable, so why should I go back and pay the exact same amount again?
Exactly right.
So no, I have not seen the new. I've looked up spoilers though, because I had to know what happened.
Yeah.
But that's a good show. I'm looking forward to it. And I tell you another good guy from there. The actor is Ryan Bingham. He's a musician I really, really like. He's one of those Texas musicians that just got that Texas style to him. And I used to listen to his music long before I ever knew he was on Yellowstone.
Who does he play on Yellowstone? Because I don't remember. Maybe I'm not far enough into to know him yet.
I think he comes in on season 1. He wears like a really big, like a felt hat. He's real scrawny like. They pick him up at prison. Rip picks him up in the pickup truck.
Oh, Walker.
Yeah, Walker.
Yeah, Cohen Walker. Okay, yeah.
He's actually a really good musician. And now it's kind of that folksy sound where
it is
a little bit like Bob Dylan. The singing's not perfect, but I found myself liking it. Cannon, me and you had a really good conversation on the way home. We was talking about getting on here and doing the podcast tonight and some things we'd want to talk about. And I don't even really remember how we got into this. Do you remember?
I really don't, honestly. I think we just kind of dove into it balls deep.
Well, and I was on my medication and things were just flying through my head.
I have no idea how we got on that, honestly.
Well, we started talking about the length of episodes.
Yes, that's how we got into it. Was we were talking about attention spans and all of that.
Yeah, because me and you were talking about how me and Miss just recorded an episode last night that, of course, by the time people hear this will already be out. and
Yes.
it was shorter than normal because we started off shooting for like a half hour with our episodes, and then we slowly got up. Some of them are running an hour and 20 minutes. And we were talking about whether we should do more short episodes or not. And we were talking about people's attention span and whether you keep going with hour episodes or whether you try to cut them down.
Yeah.
But it does seem like on the data that I get that most of our listeners listen all the way through. And we were talking about like TikTok and how long are videos on there? Like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, something like that?
I think so. Something like that.
Depending on how long whichever female decides to expose certain parts of her body.
Isn't that the truth, though? That's just the truth of it. Well, that, and then of course, Facebook, they have those videos that you can watch. And a lot of times I'll watch like videos of like old athletes and stuff, and kind of get a rundown of their life and stuff and where they're from, and, and like what their stats were, or sometimes you can watch short videos of a quick rundown of life or whatever. And so, but those are like 5 and 10 minutes tops a lot of times.
Yeah.
So it's just, you're constantly full of just these short videos.
Yeah, you are.
I hear a lot of people talk. Well, I mean, Mariah's even one of them that says, she has a hard time just watching a full movie anymore.
I have the same problem.
Yeah, exactly. I think I've even heard you say that. So, I mean, it's attention spans are just, a lot shorter than they used to be, I guess.
Well, and like we mentioned too, when we were talking, it's weird to me that, attention spans are getting shorter and shorter. I've even heard about this in the record business where you need your song to be like the length that Nashville wants your song to be is getting shorter and shorter.
Really?
Yeah. Like it used to be like 3.5, 4 minutes. I've heard now it's down to like less than 3 minutes, like 2 minutes plus. So people's attention spans seem to be getting shorter. But then you look at the number one podcast really in the history of podcasting, which is Joe Rogan, goes for 3, sometimes 4 hours at a time.
Yeah. Well, if it's interesting enough, then I'll listen to it, and that's coming from somebody that I usually don't like listening to anything for a really long time, but not long ago there was a podcast out, and I can't remember exactly who put it out. I don't know the guy's name. He was a bodybuilder. But I don't know if he claimed to be, but he was in phenomenal shape because there was a video you could watch. Mm-hmm. And he had on, the guy's name was Mel Chancey. And Mel Chancey was the youngest Hells Angels president of the Chicago chapter.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that was like an 1.5 to 2 hour long episode. And of course, I couldn't listen to all of that at one time, but I made sure that I listened to most of that. I mean, I listened for a long time. It was captivating. It was super interesting. And that's not normally like me. Usually 15, 20 minutes and I'm moving on to the next thing.
Yeah.
But I guess if it's captivating enough, I think people will listen, and that's what I did. If I like it enough, I'll stick around for it.
Yeah. So it makes you wonder because I've stated before, and I still believe that a lot of this entertainment, like TikTok and these Instagram reels and stuff, they're kind of like the junk food of entertainment, where you're just watching something basically to stimulate the old entertainment gland or whatever you want to call it. And you're not getting anything out of it. You don't see a storyline develop. You don't see nothing. So I wonder if the fact that you get a deeper content, stuff that does seem to have some meaning to it, you can get something from it. Like you said with Mel Chancey. I mean, who doesn't want to hear about the guy that was in the Hells Angels and was president of a chapter?
Oh, yeah.
You also take that to like Joe Rogan. He gets on these guys that are, he had on frickin' Bernie Sanders, for God's sake. So he gets people from all spectrums. He had Bernie Sanders, he'll have Ben Shapiro, and then he'll have weightlifters or bodybuilders, MMA fighters, just deeper conversation than watching somebody do some latest TikTok dance.
I think if it's interesting enough, like Joe Rogan, he seems to have some stuff it's really interesting. So I think you can do a longer podcast and people's going to listen to it because it's good stuff. It's good material.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think, Ken? Do you think with a lot of this stuff that's happening, do you think these shorter ways of entertainment, what's your take on it? Is it causing problems?
So I was talking to a cousin of mine. He was talking about he was listening to I'm not exactly sure what you'd label or a doctor or maybe she at least had her doctorate or whatever. And they've been doing some studies and was finding that people in college anymore are really having a hard time. They're struggling because they watch these TikTok videos, these short YouTube videos, short Facebook clips, Facebook video clips, and then trying to set them into a class, listening to a professor ramble on for 45 minutes to an hour. It's almost impossible for them. They're zoned out 5 minutes in,
Yeah.
and their mind is anywhere but on the schoolwork. Obviously, I mean that depends on the person too. Obviously, some people have a harder time focusing than others. And so he was saying that she was saying that was that they were finding that some of the newer trend is hindering people from with their attention spans and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I'd have to say I'd have to agree with that. I mean I would say that would you would think it would put a damper on things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. It seems reasonable. Now, was she the one that was also talking about the dating apps and stuff?
Yes. Me and a buddy of mine from up here, we was even talking about that. It's like he was talking about, back in the day, you went to a bar, you went to the gym, you went somewhere, and met people, talked to them, met girls, so on and so forth. Well, now you don't do that. They want to be able to pull your face up on an app,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to be able to swipe left or swipe right. They don't want to actually talk to you. So I would say that, yeah, I think the dating apps has really put a hindrance on things that, as far as.
Well, things has changed so much too, and we sound like a couple of old men talking about, because remember how we used to make fun of the old guys that would talk about, man, Buck Owens is the best. This new music.
Oh yeah, dude.
This
Yeah.
new music is crap. There'll never be George Jones. We're sitting back like, dude, George Jones sucks. And now,
now I listen to him.
I know. Now me and you get together and we're like, dude, country music sucks.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm still stuck in 2009 with
I
my
know.
country music.
I think it was good then, but man, it just seems like that. The more I hear us talk, the more we seem like these old guys that, what's you kids doing with these dating apps and crap?
Yeah.
Y'all gonna get raped on there.
Well, I get told all the time that I sound like an old person, and so I embrace it now. So yeah, I would have to say that these dating apps is really, I mean, it takes away from the human interaction. I mean, just think you can sit back on your phone, and if you see somebody you like, you swipe right. If you see a horse and you just swipe left, it's like you don't, so I mean my thing is like, and then you go out to a gym, you go out to a bar, whatever, and then you go to try to talk to somebody. Well, then it's almost like they're like scared of you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my goodness, you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
just obviously I don't have any experience in this because TikTok, or not TikTok, but what these dating apps,
Like Tinder.
yeah, Tinder and all that stuff wasn't around when I was younger, and me and my wife was dating.
Thank
I had,
goodness, because
you know.
you'd have had more STDs than we could count on both hands.
Dude, yeah, as a young 15-year-old kid, that would not have been good for me at all. But you got to take that and being serious. Like, it can't be good for the youth of America to have these smartphones with an app that you can download. Then all you got to do is, if you want, you can lie on the info, say you're 18, but technically you're only 14 or 15.
Yeah.
And then, just be looking at all the fill. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
man, that is really sounding old timey, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, man, Kennedy, when was your 70th birthday?
2 days ago. Yeah.
You mentioned about horses. And speaking of horses, do you remember that time that you signed up for a Farmers Only account just to see what was on there?
Dude, yes, I do. We did that when we was in Athens at Angel and Jason's wedding, wasn't it?
We was all in town. We was all staying in a motel. And
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
just laying there, and we was watching TV or something, and just the gals was out doing whatever it is they do. And I remember
The ad, yes.
yeah, we're sitting there. Here comes this, you don't have to be lonely at farmersonly.com. And I remember
Yeah.
you were like, I wonder what's on there, because it can't be what's in the commercial.
Hey, I was right. Too,
You
dude.
were right, man.
None of them looked like the commercial. None of them.
Yeah.
For one, none of them were farmers. I mean, there was that. I remember seeing that one girl. I seen her on there, and I thought, well, you live in downtown Logan, Ohio, next to the Burger King. You don't own no farm.
Closest you come to a cow is eating a hamburger, lady.
Cows. She's eating many cows. She didn't stop at just one burger. Oh, dude. Oh, that's horrible. It's horrible.
Funny when you sit back and think about it, though. I can remember, I think the first person in my family that got a cell phone was my grandma. And it was like a Nokia something or other. Probably like the only game it had on it might have been some generic version of Tetris.
Yes.
Like, name it like Smetris or something like that, and they won't know what we're trying to copy.
they won't know what we're doing.
Yeah. So I remember taking many trips. When I was a kid and we was poor, and we was in one of those old Chevy 20 vans. It was like a 1984 Chevy van, the kind that was made for molesters, because it had like the couch in the back that would fold down into a bed.
Yes.
Had all the the really nice lighting inside. It's like,
oh yeah, dude.
We know who you're marketing this to.
Yeah, it was just asking for a to come along. Oh man, you'll have to cut that one out. But,
yeah.
Oh man.
Well, I can remember making many trips. We made a couple trips to Florida, and taking that van. We didn't have no cell phones, and this van, like I said, this would have been in the 90s. This van was like it couldn't have been great if we could afford it. Let's just put it that way. And I mean, if you break down, you just broke down.
Oh, dude. Well, I think I was asking Mariah. We were on a trip, and I was like, "What did we do before we had a GPS?"
Oh Lord, I know.
On our phone.
I know.
I mean, I literally started getting a panic attack just thinking about trying to travel somewhere without a GPS.
Yeah.
I was like, and I remember we used to do it when I was a kid, and I remember they'd get lost, and we'd have to stop and ask for directions. They would break out the big old atlas map. Man, I don't even think I could read an atlas map at this time. I mean,
it'd be a bit of a challenge.
I'd have to go back to school just to get a degree in atlas.
Can you imagine? I've been listening to this book about Daniel Boone. Can you imagine if he could hear us talking right now? That's one of the guys that was one of the founders of Kentucky.
Ashamed.
Yes, he would.
Yeah, he'd be ashamed.
This guy used to go off on 2-year-long hunting trips, by himself or with a couple guys, and he'd hear us now talking about, I can't read an atlas. He'd be
Shut up, Daniel Boone.
He'd be like, we didn't have maps.
Oh, dude. You know what? Daniel Boone can. Oh, man. Oh, dude.
Oh, man.
Man.
It's crazy,
but
though.
It is. Technology can be a good thing. It can be a bad thing.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you a sobering one, too, was I was listening to this book, because that's what I do a lot of times, listen to books or podcasts. And it was a novel, so it was a work of fiction, but they had talked about basically something like an EMP or something like that, those things that knocks out all the electronics and the power grid and stuff. And when I was listening to that story, and of course the author had done a pretty good job of figuring out what would be affected. When you really get to thinking about that, like, number one, your car's toast, your phone's toast, you ain't got no power in the house, you ain't going to have no running water because your pumps is out.
Yeah.
If you've got electronic, like keyless entry on your door to get in your house, you ain't getting in the house. It is amazing when you stop and think how spoiled we are as a society these days.
Oh, we for sure are.
It's kind of
Man.
terrifying.
It really is. We had a guy at work the other day, and he was talking about, like the power grid could go down and stuff. And we went from having a really good time to being kind of like, oh, crap, And and I got to thinking about it. I was like, man, what would I have to do, to supply heat and stuff? And I was like, well, I'd have to bring in I'd probably just cut out some carpet out of the house and put in a wood burning stove, just kind of a temporary, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you start thinking about those, and I'm like, doggone it, I don't want to do that. I like the heat system that I have.
What do you think about too? Where you gonna get your wood? I mean, most people.
I got plenty of that.
That was perfect. But Jay, you think about that. Most people couldn't even get a supply of wood because most people don't live, like in a heavily wooded area. And if they do, they don't own the timber rights to it. And next thing you know, it's like, well, I got a wood stove, but I ain't got enough to put in it.
That is true. I start having to take trim off my doors in my house to eat with.
Actually, you're down to just a tent.
Yeah. But we're warm.
What happened to the house? Well, we had to put it in a wood burner.
Well, I have some trees, but man, I like my trees. I don't want to cut them down.
Yeah. Who wants to cut them suckers down? Being warm is overrated. So what was this guy saying though at your job? Like he was he saying this was an imminent thing?
He said, I strongly believe this is going to happen. That was his words. I strongly believe that this is going to happen. And anytime anybody says that, like as soon as I hear that, I'm like, oh my goodness, they feel it deeply. It must be going to happen.
I get the same, dude. I get the same thing. I'll hear somebody will share a Facebook video like, I just heard from the Lord, and I'm like, oh, he must have heard from the Lord.
I have found out from the Lord that there are definitely aliens out there. Oh my, it's true.
It's true. It's true. The man heard from God. What is the man? How are you going to question that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So he comes up and he's like, I strongly believe this is going to happen. And I'm like, oh crap, here goes my trees.
Yep, here go my trees.
I'm going to have to heat with them.
No more watching Yellowstone for me.
Yeah, talking about the power grid going out and stuff, and he was talking about there was a lot of there's some fraud down that would happen in New Jersey, and but here's what's crazy is, and I guess I would have to agree with him on this to a certain extent. He said he's like, there was a good victory in Virginia. He's like, I'm sure you all heard, which we're all like, yeah, we've heard. That's awesome. Instead of being like, that is awesome. He's just like, yeah. That just means they're going to have to move that much faster. I'm like, oh boy. I was like, okay, you may have a point there, but we still have a victory in Virginia, so it's like,
yeah, it's a lot of people's like it. Can you imagine if a doctor treated you like that? Well, your cancer's gone.
I strongly believe,
but we strongly believe you're about to have a massive heart attack.
Well, the man's heard from God, so I guess it's definitely true.
Dude, I'm not saying that. Well, I don't know if you could call that a conspiracy theory, but can we just mention the very, very weird conspiracy theories that have been going around over the past, 2 years?
Oh yeah, there's tons of them right now.
Oh my Lord. It honestly kind of bothers me. And a lot of them are from people that I usually agree with politically. And I'm like, you just kind of want to say, look, I want you to stop and listen to yourself and pretend I was saying this to you. And then you tell me how stupid I would sound.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I got to say, and you would know better than I would, some of the right, as far as talk show hosts, like Rush Limbaugh at the time, before his passing, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
Sean Hannity, them guys. I never really did feel, because there was some people, around here that was, especially when the COVID was really running rampant, oh my goodness, them talk show hosts, they are just amping this up so bad. They are just doing this, and oh my, and I'm like, and I was like, no, they're really not. Like, they're just saying what is happening right now, and they're giving their opinions on it.
Yeah.
They're not really going into like any of like what they think is going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Or a conspiracy. I didn't feel like they went too far off the deep end. There was a couple times they might have said something. I'm like, you might be reaching there a little bit, but
Well,
I never did feel like they got too out of hand.
Yeah. Rush especially. And
Rush especially.
And Sean, they never really got deep into the weeds on the crap that I'm hearing now. Like,
oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Now, I'm hearing some stuff now, but not a ton. What all are you hearing right now? Because like what I usually hear is stuff that's on like Facebook, which you can never believe what's going on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, if you think that's bad, you should take a dive into Parler one of these days. Now.
Oh my, yeah.
Here's the thing: when something is just really, really outrageous, when I first hear it, I'm like, all right, whatever. This sounds crazy. Like, it seemed like all this stuff started right after the election.
Yes.
And everybody was saying, and even some of Trump's lawyers kind of played into this. Because remember Sidney Powell? She's like, I'm going to unleash the Kraken. And it's like, lady, that was whatever you unleashed was like a fart in the wind. It did absolutely nothing.
It did absolutely nothing.
Yeah. It sounds like you lied. And so all this stuff just kept getting pushed, and Trump's going to come back in and all this, that, and the other. And it's like, man, I just don't, this is pretty far-fetched. I mean, do you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And usually where it stemmed from was a stupid Facebook like messenger. Somebody would like share it and it'd be like, my husband works in the CIA.
Oh,
he
yes.
says that, and whatever. And I'm just like, okay, whenever it starts out with that, I'm just like, okay, I'm out. I'm done.
And my first question would be, how ticked is your husband going to be when he gets home from his CIA job and shows that you just told everybody in the world? The CIA business.
This is classified information. Yeah. Hey. Leave it to the woman to just blab all the military secrets, man.
Yeah, because me and you would never gossip. Dang it.
Never would we ever. I would never.
I would never. I've never done such a thing. Yeah, but I see so much stuff then, and there might be listeners that subscribe to this stuff. Look, we're not trying to offend you. I'm just saying some of the stuff that y'all saying is pretty far-fetched and pretty hard to believe.
It's far-fetched, and it's just, hey, and here's my thing. It puts you in a really bad spot, like in like a really like dark place, like
oh yeah,
a conspiracy, man, because there's no end to it, man. If you start, it's like, man, if you start fishing and they start biting at that, I mean, dude, there's no end to it.
Oh yeah, it's pretty crazy, and it seems like too we're at the point where nothing can just happen without it being some grand conspiracy. Like, okay, remember when that
true.
Remember when that ship got turned sideways in like the Suez Canal or wherever it was?
Yeah, I think I did hear about that.
And so I'm like, all right, some dude lost his job. Must have been somebody like me driving that ship. And then next thing you know, people's like, no, there was actually like 5,000 kids being held captive, about to be delivered to Hillary Clinton. And I'm like, no, there wasn't. There was not 5,000 kids or whatever. And then what's this thing too about, was it Alec Baldwin, shot that woman?
Oh, yeah.
And to me, I'm like, okay, terrible accident. Alec Baldwin's an idiot, but I'm sorry that he killed somebody. And then next thing I know, I'm hearing, I forget who it was told me first. Because I know Mariah had mentioned it, but she wasn't the first, she'd mentioned she'd heard about it. But I don't remember who I'd heard from first. And they're like, like Hillary Clinton's tied into this. And I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah.
I have a hard time buying into all
that. Yeah. No, I'm with you. Because me and Mariah were the same. We're like, we don't really believe that. But we did hear that. And, it's kind of fun to like think of like, what could have happened or like what, but actually like believing it and like saying, I firmly believe, this is what happened. It's like, man, no.
I like what you told me the other day. You said that you like to get into conspiracy theories that are way in the past.
Yes.
Which I could agree with that.
Yes, I do. I like a good conspiracy. Like, man, JFK, I love that conspiracy, man.
Speaking of JFK, dude, the other day I was listening to a clip from Rogan. We need to have some kind of a drinking game every time I mention the name Rogan on the podcast. I listen to him all the time. But he had a guy on there, and they were talking about the JFK thing. Do you know that Biden just delayed the release of the other classified material on the JFK assassination?
Really?
They were about to release it, like it was up to be released, and he put the kibosh on it, like, no, you're not releasing that yet.
Wow.
And to me, it's like, I remember Rogan said this too. He's like, well, what that says to me is there's still people alive that this would hurt.
Yes.
You know, there's something really, that's probably one of the most believable conspiracy theories in my mind is the JFK thing.
Yes.
That sucker, that doesn't add up at all.
Yeah. My grandpa, dude, before the movie ever came out, Kevin Costner played in that movie too.
Kevin Costner, yep.
He played in that movie too. And, you know, before any of this ever became, my grandpa for years has always said that he did not believe that, Lee
Harvey Oswald.
Lee Harvey Oswald, yeah. He always said, he's like, I don't feel that he's the one that actually shot him.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah.
My dad used to always tell me that too. I was a little kid and had no idea about the conspiracy. You know, I just had seen stuff. We used to have one of those, like that Encyclopedia Britannica or something. You remember those encyclopedias you used to have on a computer?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So stuff like that was the only place I'd ever heard about the JFK assassination. I was like, you know, this little bastard over here shot him back the head. You know, let's move on. And so that's all I knew of it. And I remember Dad one day we was talking. I think we was driving home from church, and Dad's like, Nah, boy, that's not. You know, there's definitely something weird there. And that was the first time I was like, What do you mean? You mean they're not telling me all the truth?
Yeah.
What do you mean, Dad?
Yes. Yeah. It's true. It's true. Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff. And like I said, I like the old conspiracies, like on Netflix years ago. It's probably been like 6 years ago. I've watched it now, but a documentary on Netflix that was like, they gave tons of great arguments saying that we may not have actually landed on the moon.
Oh yeah.
When they said we did. And so I'm like, I like stuff like that, not stuff that you have any proof. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, I firmly believe. But it is cool to think about.
I remember the one that used to always aggravate me because I, for some reason, felt this weird need to defend the government was the 9/11 thing. And anytime somebody would bring it up, I'd be like, dude, you're full of crap. You know, there was, but then one day I was like, why do I feel the need to just believe this? Why can't I hear somebody out?
Well, you know, just tell it you were not a fan of it. And like I said, I'm not going to stay here and say I firmly believe, but there's some good arguments on there. You know, that at least get you thinking about it.
Yeah, there's stuff to make you think. Yeah, I don't buy into it, but it's interesting.
No, I don't buy into it totally. For one, I don't feel like there's any actual good solid proof. Two, man, like, I would hate to think that our government would do something like that.
Well, I think that's what kept me from wanting to hear about it. Was I was like, deep down inside, I was like, I cannot accept that my government would do something like this.
Yeah,
because we all know they've been perfect angels in the past.
Oh yeah, they're great people. Great people. Well, you know, and one, I think somebody made the argument that was like arguing that conspiracy, and they're like, oh my, President Bush, he did not flinch when they told him. And I'm like, oh my, okay. So for one, this man's been in politics for how many years?
Mm-hmm.
Two, this man will never, ever be on the same level as this guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we'll never feel that responsibility here. No,
he is cut out. He's cut out from a different cloth.
Mm-hmm.
If you are privileged enough to make it, well, I say that, and then here we have Biden. So,
good point.
if you somehow make it to that, I would feel that you are just cut from a totally different cloth than I'll ever be cut from.
Yeah.
So
you're either much smarter or much stupider than I am.
Yes. I would say he's much stupider.
Yeah, the current one. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah, the current one. But I can't really say that we go off of that because this man is just cut from a totally different cloth. Like I feel like that this guy is just, it was like he was made for this job.
Well,
You know
he's
what I'm
going to
saying?
be
Like, you can't
trained.
just,
He's going to be trained in receiving bad news
yes,
because I believe he was governor of Texas too before this. So
I think he was. Yes,
the guy would know how to conduct himself in the public eye.
absolutely, absolutely. And he was in a room full of children. So what is he going to do? Jump up on a chair and start like pulling his hair out?
Yeah. Fall out on the floor.
You know, fall,
Oh, you kids are going to die.
Somebody's waving him with a fan, and like trying to get him back in order. I just don't feel like that's a good argument really. But dude, we ought to actually do a deep dive on here of that conspiracy and just see if we can actually find any good evidence.
We should. And I was thinking too, I'd like to do a deep dive on the JFK one. It would take some research, awesome. Take me a few weeks to get together, and then you could do some digging on your end, and we could just go deep in it because the JFK conspiracy, man. I like the Oliver Stone movie that Kevin Costner was in. Oh, I love that movie. And then I've basically been told the movie's kind of full of crap, so I don't know if it's true or not. I still like the movie.
Oh yeah, the movie was great, I thought. Yeah. So I mean, that'd be a lot of fun. We ought to do that.
It would be. Before we shut this thing down, we're talking about conspiracy theorists, and I remember this clip that somebody had sent me the other day, and I wanted to get you. I wanted to play this for you, Kata. I guess Alex Jones, and I'm playing this purely for the entertainment value. I'm not endorsing Alex Jones. I will say this though, a lot of the conspiracy theories I hear these days makes Alex Jones look like Sean Hannity.
Oh yeah, isn't that
But anyways, so Alex Jones took ivermectin live on the air and proceeded to kind of have a meltdown, which I love a good Alex Jones meltdown. Like where he just gets so mad. I don't think the ivermectin caused it. Let me play this for you.
Oh, what's all this? What's going on here? Here, let's just open it up for you. Didn't get this at a Tractor Supply. Because I've been like Santa Claus taking care of everybody. Hours a day for months. Taking care of people. Overhead shot, please. You know what this is? This is ivermectin for humans that won a Nobel Prize as an antiviral. And this is inhalable, or these are the tablets, steroids. So let me show you. I was going to do this anyways earlier. See this? See this, Fauci? You see this, Bill Gates? I'm going to kill those prions, you bastard murderers. And hit me with a bioweapon, you monster. You want to suppress me? You want to kill me? You son of a you demon? You think I'm easy to kill? Think I'm going to roll over to your crap? No. And Joe Rogan kicked your murdering too. You love to bury him.
It looks like he just took it with beer.
Dude, you little monster maggot. He's in this National Geographic piece about, I don't usually deal with my enemies right away. I get them later. Yeah, you creep up on with a poison injection, dressed up in a lab coat, you little Joseph Mengele, Nuremberg Code violating monster. Monster. See our little cancer proteins like that. Nobel Prize winning for humans. 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 What, 2005? Nobel Prize winning for humans. Oh, Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan. He went and drank the horse paste. He's stupid. I bet he got it from Alex Jones. They're both so dumb. They're both going to be dead. Yeah, that's why Joe's worth like $300 million. Yeah, he's real stupid. That's why he lives in a $60 million house on the river. You leftists taking all the shots and dying are the dumbass. He's the one that headlines with Dave Chappelle, not you. You're stupid. And I sure wish you'd wake up. But you sit there calling me stupid, an independent media person that built the biggest independent media operation in the world, that changed the whole paradigm with my bad listeners, and you sit around and laugh at us? Medical doctors gave that to me. It is incredible. It helped my family. It helped me. It helped everybody. And it's approved for humans for all sorts of viral stuff. But that murderer Fauci doesn't want you to know because he wants the planet for himself and he wants you dead. Well, guess what, Fauci? We ain't rolling over and dying so easily, you little murdering man.
Oh, dude. Oh,
dude. Oh, I love a good Alex Jones fit.
Dude. He crashed it. Wow.
Oh, Alex Jones, man. He is.
Goodness.
He's funny. There's been times I'll listen to him just for the entertainment value. I learned long ago.
Oh, yeah.
Not to get sucked into that deep, dark hole. Whether he's telling the truth or not,
Yeah.
I don't need that kind of negativity.
No, that's a lot of negativity.
Well, like I said, what's funny is it looks like he just took those pills with beer. And so, he's like the picture of perfect health. Oh, man.
Oh, dude.
I was in DC one time. He come walking right past. And,
No way.
oh yeah, crowd went berserk, man. He's got some pretty rabid fans. So the people that love Alex Jones, man, they flat out love him. Well, Kanan, you ready to shut it down?
Yeah, buddy, we might as well.
It's been fun, man. I think we did all right.
Yeah, I think so too, man.
Did all right.
Yeah.
Miss kept creeping in on our secure phone line here.
Oh, man.
All right, man.
Awesome.
You got anything you want to say before I shut it off?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. Well, if that's it, I'm done. See y'all later.
All right. See y'all later.
Thank you for listening to the Hillbilly Broadcast. We hope you liked what you heard. If you didn't, and you really want to make us mad, go to wherever you listen to the podcast and give us a 5-star rating. It will drive me insane with anger. If you did like the show and you want to support it, go to anchor.fm/Phil Sparks, where you can become a monthly supporter if you so desire. While you're there, you can also send us a voice message and we'll play it on the show. Or if you don't want us to, we won't play it on the show. That's your call. Also, if you want to send us feedback, you can reach us by email at hillbillybroadcast@aol.com. That's right, we're so cool, we still use an AOL address. You can also find the Hillbilly Broadcast on Facebook and connect with us there. And I am on Twitter at Phil Sparks Show. Once again, thank you for listening. We love you, the good Lord loves you, and we'll see you next time.